live. We good?
Yep. I think we're in it. Okay, we're gonna jump it right off of rap
Cool.
shit.
Oh shit. It's your turn, right?
It is. It
All right.
is.
Thank God.
Okay.
I forgot. Let's get it.
All right. Cool. Club jumping don't stop off top, but you know what? We only go till 2 o'clock. Put your motherfucking hood up. This the weekend. Drop that, back that ass up, and bitches get to freaking. Last call at the bar. Ladies get a drink. Nigga get some balls. Ain't no telling you gonna see that bitch tomorrow. Stop holding up the wall waiting for the right song. Better holler cause you know they about to cut the lights off.
For a second there, I thought it was R. Kelly, but I know you wouldn't do that. I thought it was. Anyway.
Okay.
I don't know. Keep going. Maybe I'll
Okay.
figure it out. Hold on. Keep going.
Okay. I know you were made for me, but darling, don't you wait for me. Cause I can see the promised land, but I don't do no promising. I know you were made for me, but darling, don't you wait for me. Cause I can see the promised land, but I can't do no promising. Put a finger in the sky if you want a nigga. Put two fingers in the sky if you wanna. Put a finger in the sky if you wanna, nigga. Hey, put two fingers in the sky if you wanna.
Put a finger in the sky. Is that J. Cole?
Yes.
Okay. Mm, There's a sample he used on that. Two fingers in the sky if you want a nigga. Fingers in the sky. Mm-mm. Ah man, I know it's J. Cole and I can hear the sample, but I can't put my finger on the song. I could probably tell you the shit. It's probably on. That's on Forest Hill Drive, ain't it? The
Is
album.
it? Is it? I'm not sure.
Um,
No, it's not. That's not
bitch.
It's for. Do you want me to tell you?
The album? Tell
Yeah.
me the album.
For Your Eyes Only.
Ooh, I don't know.
I may have to retire J. Cole songs because they are too hard. Because all of his songs just sound like stories, and if you don't catch, because I'm reading the most famous part of the song. So okay, so it's Deja Vu. Yeah.
Damn it.
So if I
It's
sing it
that
with
same sample that he came out with Bryson Tiller. Had the
yes,
same sample that year. Damn.
yes,
I really fucked with that song.
yeah. Club jumping don't stop off top, but you know you only go to 2 o'clock. Put your motherfucking hood up. It's the weekend. Drop the back that ass up and bitches get the freaking. It's
I
like the
mean,
bridge part.
yeah, that's a good one though.
Man,
I
J.
gotta
Cole's
listen to
are
that.
super tough because he literally just sounds like he's just talking, but it just happens to be like the hardest rhymes you've ever heard. So
That sample's so hard, man.
yeah, it is the Bryson Tiller.
Yeah, there's that same. Well, they sampled the same song and the
Yes,
same.
it's a SWV song. It's no, it's not. It's "Shawty Swing My Way." That's the sample.
Oh,
Sure look good to me. And so when Bryson Tiller did it, he did like the part where she's like doing the runs.
yep, yep.
I'm not gonna do it.
Nah,
It
I
sounds
mean,
sound crazy,
I
but
I feel
yeah.
you. With that man, that's a
But
really
it's
good
such
song.
a
I'm really
good
thinking
song. So
it's a great song. Fuck.
yeah, when I
Shout out
picked
to
it, I was
Cole.
like, oh, this is a banger. I love that song because like it has so much nostalgia to it, and what really made me because he's basically thinking of like talking about like wanting to approach a girl or seeing her from afar. She's got a man or whatever, but he's like still super into her,
Yep.
and basically just jonesing for her. And it was
Yeah.
so funny because the reason why I picked that song is because, as you know, I had a work trip this week, and I had the privilege of hanging out with some of my, work colleagues, and that's just like going out to a bar and like drinking and stuff like that. They're all single, except
Okay.
for that's not true.
Except for
Of
one.
of the no of the group that I went with, there were two of them that weren't single. One is engaged, and another one has like a longtime girlfriend. But all the other people I was out with were single. And child, I do not remember really. I mean, we've been in a relationship for a while. So the last time I was single, I was in college. But I do not remember, or I didn't realize that I didn't remember what it felt like to be in an environment where like you're single and you know the people around you are single and you looking and they looking. Like so
Mm.
being on the outside looking into that situation.
I mean, we saw that in Vegas too.
Yeah, when
That
we went
first
to the
night.
that first night was all when we went to the bar
Yep.
and we saw like, you know, but it wasn't young people. They were all like
No,
grown and established and like probably pretty well off because of the hotel that we were staying and it was
yeah,
cute. So
it was dope.
there was definitely a lot of people like mingling and mixing. And it was wild because while we were there was like a Bitcoin conference or like some type of like cyber
Crypto thing.
crypto, yes, thing that was happening
Tennessee.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
So it was pretty interesting because, like, for one, the city was absolutely packed and, you know, it was jumping.
Hmm.
And, you know, I don't know if people there had like a lot of money or at least where we were, but, you know,
They say that place is uh white people's Atlanta. So
that's cute. That's cute. I don't know how I feel about that assertion
hmm.
simply because it's like I don't know what a white Atlanta looks like. I guess like because to me devoiding Atlanta from black people doesn't make sense. Like it's like okay, so an Atlanta without black people is just like to me any other city. But like the reason why Atlanta is like so incredible is because you really get to see what like a modern, active, like urban society looks like that is primarily promoted and like sustained and given its like coolness by black people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not in like that weird kind of you want to gentrify away like New York or Brooklyn or you know like LA
It
or
has its
whatever it
moments,
is,
but
right? Like
yeah.
anyway, Atlanta is a very wealthy city and you can see it when you move through it and when you look around you're like who own all this nice stuff and it's black people,
Right.
at least in greater percentages that you than you would see in other like metropolitan areas, right?
Right.
Like super major cities. Anywho, so like that feels like an oxymoron to me. Like a white Atlanta,
Fair
it's
enough.
like there's no such thing.
It's where they go to have fun.
But it's cute, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm-hmm.
a very it's definitely like they call it, you know, Music City or whatever. So
Yep.
when you think about like what that entails is country music and, you know, like bluegrass kind of aesthetic, but there's like these pockets of like house music and like EDM and
Oh wow.
like stuff like that. And so that's kind of where we were. And it was a little vibe. But yeah, like I said, some of my coworkers, you know, are younger and they're single. And one of them in particular, I mean, is just a stunner. So like whenever we walk into the place, like heads turn and everybody's basically not everybody, but there was a good amount of people. She was getting attention, if you will. And like,
Is it who I think it is?
no,
Oh,
no.
okay. Never mind.
But she was looking great as well. Anywho, it was just real cute to see like the
The
kids
engagement.
mingling, the engagement, and how it's like how you would think like if you're on the outside looking in that it's like changed like oh my gosh like you know not kids but young people don't they don't like really like holler at each other like you used to back in the day like trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk and stuff like that. It's like let me get your snap and like where you're at like whatever, but it's essentially the same thing. It just takes a little bit more time and it's just hard like watching guys come up to her or thinking about guys coming up to her or talking to anyone even if it wasn't her, like seeing other people mingle and talk and converse and flirt and stuff like that. It's tough. It's like and
Tough for who?
I
Tough
think
for
it's tough. I
on
think it's
both
tough for
sides.
guys. Like, I don't really think that women have to try that hard, because it's the guys who are, you know, doing the pursuing ultimately.
Right.
And honestly, if a girl goes up to talk to a guy, she's probably going to have better luck than a guy is talking to a girl. Um,
Yeah. I mean, young people, time is different now, so there's not as much like physical interaction. A lot of this stuff is online. So
Yeah.
when you get in the real world and having to talk to somebody, those skills of just basic like social interaction
Mm-hmm.
is on a little bit of a decline before, compared to 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So this whole thing about having game and stuff, I think it might be coming back because there's all kinds of YouTubes about hitting on like going to the supermarket and picking up on girls and shit,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
I think what was really interesting
So,
was that like there are a lot of people there who are interested in documenting the vibe rather than being engaged in the vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh
you can
really?
yeah, you can have a really good time, but just know at some point,
The phone's
someone's
coming out.
a phone is coming out, someone is recording, and not even just like once or twice, like primarily for the entire like time, like even little groups of like making moments that will look super cool on social media, like
Mm-hmm.
circling around a camera and like doing, because the kids have all of the gadgets nowadays. Like you can pull out
Oh,
a
the
phone and there's
selfie
something with a
stick with the,
gyroscope
oh
and all
God,
types of stuff, and you making a
360.
movie,
Yeah,
bruh. I'm watching it. I'm like, y'all just got these in your pockets. You just have a tripod in your purse. Like
it's
people
crazy.
really know how to curate like the aesthetic, but being on the outside of that, like I say it all the time whenever we're watching some of these really cool like TikToks and stuff like that, it's like I wonder how it looks to be recording this moment right now. And I was a person on the outside watching it happen.
Did it look silly?
No, because I am typically on the viewer's end of whatever they're going to produce and put out onto social media, right? Like I'm on the timeline. I'm scrolling through the reel and I see it. So when I see it happening in real life, it doesn't look as foreign. It is weird. It is a little like, oh, what are they? Oh, they're recording a reel or they're making like B-roll or like someone's on their live right now.
Mm,
And it's like, oh, okay, I can recognize that that's what you're doing. And I think people are a little self-conscious about like they try to do it as quickly as possible.
that's one of the funniest things.
But like at the same time, it's like I can see you. You're not even in like in a bathroom. Like you're literally out in the middle of a crowd. Like we're on a dance floor, and you're just like a huge ring of light. Just
Yeah, everyone wishes they had their own camera crew follow them
oh
around.
my gosh!
You know,
Everybody knows for a fact that they are in their own sitcom. Like they are the main character energy has never been stronger. I think in this space, and that's why I think it could be even harder to like approach somebody. Is because you're not even being initially like assessed just from your game or whatever. It's like the whole package has to be figured out already. Like you have to come if you're going to approach a girl, like you have to come from head to toe, especially if you come like if you're going after a baddie. You can obviously see that like there are people in the crowd who don't care as much,
mm,
right? It's like, okay, you came out to have a good time with your friends and you just look cute. But every now and again, one in about 64 occupants, there is a single fine ass girl who walks in. And everybody can see her. Everybody like has noticed her and everyone's thinking about approaching her. And you see maybe like four people actually attempt, but being on the outside, I could see 30 people thinking about it. Like,
mm,
and it's so weird. It's weird for the person who knows that they're fine enough to get that attention
mm.
because they have to pretend like they don't know. They have to pretend like they don't know that, they walked in and 30 guys just started staring at them. But you also have to act like you recognize it and like walk accordingly. And then watching the guys think about it. Like there was a couple of dudes who came up to her and I was just like, oh, that was bold. Like I wouldn't have. That's not the approach I would have had. But good on him. And you don't nearly look fine enough to have that much boldness. But like, okay, I'll rate you for it. Like, good on you. So,
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the kids gotta have all this shit together
oh, if you
nowadays. It's kind of crazy.
why don't you
Grown
have
ass
at
people
least
don't have.
40K followers on Instagram, at least 1 million on TikTok, you know what I'm saying,
If it's
and
just that, that's
an
fine.
entrepreneur.
I don't even think they really need money like that for real.
They just need eyes.
They just need eyes. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. Well,
It was
that's interesting.
interesting. Yeah, it was super interesting just like watching like the flirting and things like that happening. And so that J. Cole song kind of made me think about it because you can tell a lot of people thought they were in their own music video and like they were going to make it happen tonight. Um, so yeah, and it's interesting watching particularly good looking people do this. No, nobody cares for the fuglies. Like, it's like if y'all the pressure is completely off of them. Like they can do they you can blunder like no one's gonna see because no one's looking at you. That's the real truth. Like there were so many people in there who were really invisible. Like y'all were just like decoration for the truly like beautiful people who are making their way like to and fro. Everyone else is just accoutrement.
It's very rare you get, as what you would say, fugly, but still uh, appealing or attractive because of their aura. Biggie has a line about that shit. Like, what is it? Fat and black as ugly as ever.
However, I stay Gucci down to the
to the
socks.
socks. Like, there's always, every so often you might catch one that's just like, okay, it may not be the most good looking person, but damn, their personality is incredible. And
Yeah,
so they're magnetic.
oh yeah,
And
and you can see them coming through the door as well.
they
Like not,
control shit. That
yeah,
shit is
they make
admirable to
they
me.
make
That
things
shit
move
is
around
cool.
them for sure.
It's dangerous when you have that and you fine. But, you know,
Yeah, that no can defend. You just watch them do whatever they want
they
in the
do whatever they
space.
want. They get
They
free
can,
drinks.
yeah, they can send you away. They can send you away or draw you in, and you can't do anything about either. And like even if you try to kind of like act hurt, because if you get curved by a beautiful woman, you have no choice but to just keep it pushing and just hope nobody else saw. Because if you draw attention to yourself by like being sensitive or like really upset
How is
about
that
it,
happening though? Because my idea, or at least what I recollect as a guy who never ever really approached anybody like that.
I can concur.
It's a
That is
fact.
verifiable.
How does it happen nowadays? Because how I remember it, it's like, and maybe because of the parties or the places I've been into, it's all about dancing. It's just like you get curved equals like you try to get a dance and
No.
you get denied. But if people getting curved by like saying, hi, how you doing? My name is, and I'm trying to talk to you, and they
Yeah.
go, no, thank you. Type.
Well, both are true. There's really about 3 opportunities to swoop in or like an opening to talk to a woman. At least from what I saw from this week's observations. Okay, what I tested and saw in the wild. Okay, you have the opportunity when she comes up to the bar. Right, if she slides in next to you or you see her waiting, and there's a spot next to her. There's a
She's
really
stuck.
nice.
She wants a drink.
She
So
wants
she,
a drink and she's waiting to be attended to, so you can kind of
yes.
slide in. There's a good opening. Hey, how you doing? What are you drinking? Or like
And the deny is what?
either just ignore and move away entirely.
Damn.
Yeah, just goodbye. Right.
Okay.
The like eye contact and shift and smile and like nod, get your drink and then leave.
Damn.
Or and this is really true for women, there's always a friend very close by
Oh
who
yes.
sees that person come towards you and intercepts. There's no contact. You're sliding in to make the move and she slides in next to her and does not look at you, immediately starts talking to her friend.
Yeah, girlfriends in the party is better than the Secret Service
Oh,
when it
wow.
come
I
on to
mean,
that.
the protection, the level of
Protection is
protection. She
crazy.
might as well have a walkie-talkie like this, like, because she has a perimeter set up around her fine friend.
And God forbid
Please
they're
no.
all fine. I've seen that happen in real time.
If they're all
One of
fine, it's worse for you because they might embarrass
one
you.
of the advantages of being a wallflower is watching all that happen.
Yeah.
But then also, being a little kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say a little green about God. Because I've seen guys where it's reverse. God walk in and,
Really?
oh yeah.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen that in
I've
real
seen that a
life.
few times. We're Greek, so it could happen that
Oh,
way.
for
And
sure.
then, I've
Yeah, I
seen it happen in
mean,
like high school. I've seen it happen, there's just certain, again, personality matched with like being kind of already fine. And then you said this a while ago too, not on the podcast, but like everyone, you would sometimes when you're a wanted person, it attracts more people. And so if a guy walks in and he has one or two girls' attention, it naturally
Oh yeah.
brings, and sometimes it don't even have to be girls. If you're just popular, like if you walk into a space that,
People want to see what all the hype is about.
yeah, that, I mean, if you walk up to a club where there's a line and you skip the line,
Oh,
everyone's gonna be
everyone's
is
looking at
looking at you like,
you.
who is this? Like,
Yeah, and then you go in
you
there, and then you
know.
have a section, and then you have, security. And I mean that's a higher level. We're talking about civilians. We're not talking about anybody rich, right? Everybody is like in the same or equal like playing field appearance wise, right? There's even probably the weirdest part was seeing older people who was in the mix
Oh,
who
that's
were
almost outaged.
not almost, definitely. There was this one guy that I was like, who left their grandfather here?
Oh, that's not good.
Who left him here?
Was he by himself?
Yes.
Flag him.
Yeah. Oh, please believe I was watching him. Okay, so truth moment. Of all of my colleagues, I am officially the old bitch in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm big mama bear. I came there looking like I came there looking like a chaperone. Please know. While everybody else is in like their cute little outside attire, I'm still in business casual. Okay? I am
How did that happen to you?
Well, that happened to me one because this was a business trip.
I
I did
understand
not
that.
think that we would be going out like and
You,
hanging out until like midnight, 1 o'clock.
but they said,
No, they didn't.
yeah.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Listen, I didn't make a decision that I was going to go on this trip until about 3 days before I went. Okay. And so when the youngins was like, oh, we're going to go out, we're going to hang. And I was like, okay, that sounds cute. Let's get a couple of drinks. And then we was walking into like bars with live music. And I was like, oh, we outside. Okay, cool. So like I'm walking around in a cardigan.
Wow.
I'm in a cardigan.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Me and another one of my
You
coworkers.
trying to be Janine and you're not Janine from Abbott Elementary.
Wow. God, I can't wait for that show to come back. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I guess I was.
But you don't have to be like that.
I know I don't have to be like that. And to be honest, I'm okay with that because I don't know if I'm ready to step out like looking how I actually look with my younger colleagues. That's not the attention I'm trying to garner.
So you would rather
I wasn't trying to be the baddie. I really wasn't. That wasn't like my that wasn't my MO.
Balance between mom and
Yeah, they definitely called me mom several times throughout the trip. Several times. Yeah, I aged myself up. But I was okay with that.
Okay.
I was okay with that.
If you like it, I love it.
I think in the eyes of my colleagues,
I just want you to have fun, that's all.
I'm always going to have a good time. That much is true. Like, and they'll tell you like mama got to dancing. You hear me? Okay? I cut a rug. Yeah? Yeah. We had fun. We had a good old time.
Let's move on, man.
It was lovely. Okay. My fault. Well, dang. Welcome, you guys. What's up? How y'all doing? Y'all still here? Welcome back to the show.
What's good?
Hey now.
Amen and hallelujah.
Okay.
And
Amen and hallelujah. Welcome. This is a One Thing for Certain podcast, okay? With myself, Ali King, and my husband.
Carrot King.
We talk about all the things that married people like to talk about, which happens to be just about anything that pops into our heads. We not here to give y'all schedules, okay? We are not here to present, put together, and like organize. We're gonna give it to you how we got it, all right? And that's what pops up. That's really how it is. Oh, how is it when you guys are together and you guys seem like you have it all together? We do not.
No,
we don't.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of piggyback off on that, the mood for me is a bit off, and be honest, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm being a weirdo on camera, but had a person pass away not too long ago, or this week, so it's been a weird couple of days really for me. So if the energy is down, I apologize, but yeah, we still here.
Hey, listen, we
you know
in
what I'm
here,
saying?
okay? So if real life situations and transparency is your vibe, welcome.
Yeah, man.
We're your
Tell
friends.
the truth.
We're your friends.
Say I don't be in the comments being like, why is Carrick being a weirdo? to his wife. It's like,
That's hilarious.
bro, life is life, and you know what I'm saying. I don't know what to tell you. I'm here. I'm smiling. You know, like it is
Y'all
what
told me to
it is.
show up. I'm
I'm here,
here.
bro. I'm
What's
here.
up? What you want?
Yes,
How
yes,
much
yes,
more
yes.
you want me to do?
I'm here,
I'm
man.
here. I'm always sitting Mary to say, and here I am,
Meredith,
whole and healed,
whole and
all
healed.
whole and healed for
Love
you.
that show.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Grey's Anatomy.
Shout out to Grey's Anatomy. If y'all don't know what that's about, then I don't know. Maybe we'll make it one of our current obsessions one
100%.
of these
Probably
weeks.
next week. Only because I'm watching something else right now that I'll get into
Yeah,
later.
that's a
But
fact. God, it's
yeah,
got you in the show code. Okay, so anyway, let's get through the intro. Look,
let's go.
if y'all still here, thank you, okay?
Appreciate
But
it.
make sure that you subscribe. Just go
Like,
ahead and press that button.
comment,
Comment. Hit that
subscribe,
notification bell. You know what I'm
please.
saying? Say what's up to us. We want to know
Yeah,
who
man.
you are, okay? And hang with us a little bit more. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get right into it with our current obsession. Since you already kicked it off, go ahead and jump into
Oh,
what
you
you
want me to go
feeling.
first?
Go on and get it off your chest.
I'm late to the game. I'm gonna say that already. You know, it's been on for a while, but The Shy on Showtime, which is also now on Paramount Plus. Salute to my big homie for letting me bum off of his Paramount Plus. You know what I'm
Big
saying? We
bum.
trade streaming services. I have his Paramount
Ba,
Plus, and
ba,
he
ba,
has our
bum.
Peacock
For sure.
subscription. So I just started to get into The Shy. I'm on season 4. I think mid-season at this point, and it's a great show. Off the bat, like I tried to watch it. I watched like almost a full season, maybe like 2-3 years ago, and then fell off. And then just got back into it over the last few days, and it's been great. It's a great show. Um, you know, it's following Chicago and just giving you kind of some insight on what life is like in the on the south side of Chicago. For the center of the show is really around kids, and how they kind of navigate through their neighborhood with, you know, gun violence and drugs, and their own relationships in school, and peer pressure, and just the stress of trying to get out, make it, but then also it expands the world with their parents and like the adults in Chicago and what they have to navigate through as their kids are trying to like navigate this, and they're watching their kids
Grow
figure
up.
trying to grow up in
Yeah.
this city that doesn't seem to do a very good job of uh keep
Protecting them.
protecting them. And so you see a lot of that. I think, you know, in season 3 and 4 they get more into like some the political side of Chicago, and it's not really just Chicago. To me, I see it as kind of a reflection of just major cities, that, you know, that the metropolitans that are not like the
Inner cities.
suburbs, inner cities. Thank you,
Yeah.
inner cities. So it's cool. And as always, like I said, about same thing with Bernie Mac, there's parenting on display, or lack thereof, depending on how you look at it. And so and so I'm always gonna be interested in seeing parenting on display, and it's very diverse in that, because you have single parents, and uh, just different versions of people wanting to have, you know, a older brother is trying to raise his younger brother. Um, and so it's interesting for sure. It's a great show. It's a really good show.
I'm glad that
Fucking
you're
with it.
enjoying it. Yeah,
It's
you've
my
been
place of
watching
peace
that.
at the moment, in a weird way, because there's nothing real peaceful
There's
about the
nothing
show.
peaceful about the show. That's actually really interesting because I think well, I'm gonna dovetail into your current obsession, but kind of on the opposite spectrum. I don't watch the show. I've like when you were talking about trying to watch the first season of The Shy a few years back, we tried to watch it together, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
really incredible like first season. And we both fell off, and when you picked it back up, I kind of watched an episode or two, and then I remembered that like, oh yeah, this is probably just gonna have to be a show for you. I'm a bit more like sensitive well, I think currently, so I'll start with my current obsession. My current obsession is going to be gratitude. I feel like I have been trying to hold on to like the idea of um like sustaining a level of like peace and tranquility and gratitude in my space for the past, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks, like holding on to it, firmly grasp it like with two hands, really trying to take ownership of like my happiness. And gratitude is a way that I can always, I think, center myself on that space. Like the more grateful I feel, the more I look around and like recognize how incredibly fortunate I am for the family that I have and the life that I have and the space that I've created for myself and the things that I've done and the favor that I've been granted. That's the only thing that can kind of keep me from spiraling when I feel like really overwhelmed by a lot of things. So like whether it be like last week we talked about the political climate and like America not even being for real. And since then, everything ramping up with the presidential election and with Joe Biden officially bowing out of the
Yep.
race and Kamala Harris being endorsed, as the Democratic candidate
Mm-hmm.
for the presidency, you've seen like an uptick in what is very obvious, trying to be like baiting you for extreme emotions. Wherever I'm scrolling
That's a
through like
good
my
way to put that.
timeline, they are
God damn.
intentionally trying to make us as angry as possible.
That shit is
Like,
crazy.
and even the recent murder of the young woman,
Oh,
not the young woman,
you're not
I think her
gonna
name is like, don't
not
give me
gonna
the
get
line.
this wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to
Un
get it
momento.
wrong. Don't let me misquote it. But even in that a recent police shooting that happened to
Sonia Massey.
Sonia Massey, an elderly woman who is confirmed paranoid schizophrenic, who called the police and was basically killed. She was asking for help because she thought someone intruded into her home, and the person and the law enforcement that was dispatched to her home, who she looked to help her, actually end up being the person to take her life. What was it?
Sorry, guys.
And
Continue.
that was an incredibly traumatic thing to just be aware of. I did not watch it. I can't watch stuff like that. And so like between all of those other things, stuff that's been happening in our life personally, it's just been really trying, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of stuff happening. It's not just all bad, it's not just all good. And trying to remember that is difficult sometimes, because as humans, like our mind is going to focus on the things that are bad because it is a defense mechanism. It's like, are you pay attention? It's like when people say like, oh, don't go into the comments and don't feed the trolls and like all these other things
Right.
regarding paying attention to negative feedback. It is physiologically and psychologically incredibly difficult to do that, because as human beings, responding to what feels like attacks is human nature. It is a part of like self-preservation. And
Mm-hmm.
so you have to be incredibly intentional about where you spend your time and your effort and your energy. And what we consume is not solely exclusive to like our food. Consumption has everything to do with like what you put in your mind, what you absorb in your spirit, things that you watch. And
Yeah.
lately, I have been hip to the idea that there are like large overarching forces, like whether it is like capitalism or advertisement or advertising or political parties or pundits and things like that, that are trying to incite an emotion from you, and being forced or having those feelings being manufactured. You have to ask yourself, who does this actually serve, right?
Right.
And I always have to remember that whoever or whatever is creating this environment to solicit a type of emotion, that they are not for me. Like, it is not for my benefit. It is for some other agenda.
It's to
And
make you
I
think a certain.
and
It's
I
trying to
am
control
not
you.
willing to succumb to that idea. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to protect my peace. I am going to like detach from those things, still be obviously aware and cognizant and reflective of those things, but don't walk around in my daily life with my perspective tinged and manipulated and tainted for someone else's gain, right? And so recognizing that and centering myself around that idea requires me to have an air of gratitude and to refocus my perspective and reframe it with an air of gratitude so that I can remember that this is all being told to me, right? Like these ideas are being forced upon me, and my attitude, I don't control very much in the world, right? But I do control myself. I control my feelings. I control my happiness. I can demand that this is not something that I'm willing to sit in. And so I have been. And like focusing on my family and focusing on the things that are important to me and the things that I love and the goals that I have, and facing forward in that idea, in that sense, is what has been keeping me sane. So that has been my current obsession. That has been on my mind on for and on a regular basis, and so that's
Dope.
been my intention.
That's dope.
Yeah. Okay. So are we in like or love? So
Okay.
a humble brag. It was my birthday this week. Can you put like some confetti or
Mm,
whatever on the
um,
in
Babe,
post?
I'm, I'm only but a
Anyway, it was
humble.
my birthday earlier this week. Your girl has seen another year around the sun.
Absolutely.
And I'm super excited about that. That, also leads into my whole gratitude thing. But for my birthday, we went out to dinner and we actually went to go see a movie. And we went to see Inside Out 2.
We did.
We went to see Inside Out 2. And so I have, is it a like or love for you for Inside Out
Love it.
2? Yeah?
Love it.
Yeah.
Um,
Love it
they did
without a
it
doubt.
again. I don't know how. I just hope the only thing I'll say,
Pixar, brother. Come
the
on.
only thing I'll say, Disney has a tendency is like, and I know that they tried to. Gonna nerd for a second. I know that Disney's reshuffled things because everyone told them that they were like everyone was like stop with so much stuff. It's too much stuff. Too many movies, too
Too
many
many
shows
shows.
in between the movies that are all
Yeah,
connected. It's a lot.
exactly.
Everyone chill out and relax.
This web that you all have weaved, you starting
Yeah.
to get tangled up in it. So take a beat.
However, I know that there's a tendency to think, "Oh, this was so successful and everyone loved it. Let's turn it into a series." For some reason, these companies have a tendency to do that. So I hope Pixar kind of stays true to Pixar
Yeah.
and doesn't turn Inside Out Inside Out into like a series or something, because I think it'll just go left after that. So I thought about that, but the movie itself, it hit the nail on the coffin again. I don't know
That
how
hit the nail
hit
on the
what is
head.
it?
Hit the
Hit the
nail on
nail
the head.
hit the nail on
Hit
the
the
head.
nail on the
Apologies. I don't know
coffin.
where that came from. I was thinking about vampires.
Yes.
Um,
You're
my mind
such
right
an
now is
old
crazy.
man. What is it? They put the nail in the
You put the
coffin?
nail in the lime in the coconut, mix it all up.
Yo.
Is that a
Yeah.
Tiger song?
As
Anyway,
you were.
but yeah, I don't know how they did that twice in a row.
Yeah.
Like that's really impressive
Yeah, it
that
was
they did
really,
that.
really good.
If I could think of like a highlight or two, sarcasm, fire, and the movie came. It's been out for a while, so spoiler,
Yeah.
spoiler, and more spoiler. Um, the sarcasm moment, crazy.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes, yes.
the dream propaganda anxiety
Yes,
thing
the
where they were all,
projections.
yeah, the projections,
Yes.
great.
Yep.
Um, the secrets, I thought that was
The
cool.
Vault of
The
Secrets,
vaults of
yeah.
secrets
Uh-huh.
and the weird suppressed emotions,
Yeah.
so funny.
Suppressed emotions was crazy.
And how they depicted an anxiety attack,
Brilliant.
brilliant,
I thought it
man.
was spot on. Like, so it's definitely a love for me too.
Yeah,
Automatically, unfortunately, I think it's just the black in me. We love comparing and contrast and stuff, child. I did automatically compare it to the first one, right? I still personally think the first one is better, but I think this second one did not miss the mark by much, right? Like it's definitely it did what it was supposed to do. It was really great. Essentially the story focused around our our girl Riley,
Riley,
and
man.
as she has become a teenager, and focused around her the diversity and the complexity of her emotions, right? So when we followed Riley in the very beginning, she was really young and she started off with joy, like as a baby. And then she started developing these other emotions: fear, disgust, sadness.
Mm-hmm.
And, the four of them were, cohabitating in her mind. As she has gotten older, we have new emotions, more complex emotions. We have
Mm-hmm.
anxiety. We
Anxiety,
have
boredom. Is it boredom?
ennui, which is
Ennui.
yeah,
Yeah.
ennui, which is basically like boredom or like dissatisfaction, just overall like passe, kind of energy. You did I say embarrassment already? So
Yeah.
anxiety, embarrassment,
And
envy,
envy.
and ennui, and then floating off to the side is nostalgia. That they
Yes.
keep trying to beat her away. They're like, okay, no, no, no nostalgia. You don't show up until like in another 30 years. Like, calm
Yeah.
down. So it was really, really dope. My question to you, to kind of piggyback off of it, is like or love, because it's obviously love child. I told y'all, I want to say in
Fire.
episode 1 that like I knew that we were eventually going to talk about Inside Out 2, and here it is.
Yeah.
So buckle the fuck up.
Fire, man.
Which emotion, when you were Riley's age, did you identify with the most? Because I know which one. I know which one stands out to me the most for what I remember feeling, primarily at that age.
Um, which one? Let me go through the list and not just have silence on the what you
Okay.
call
Well,
it.
while
Yeah, go
you're
ahead. Go ahead.
looking
Go
for,
ahead.
I'll say mine because I've been thinking about it. So for me, when I was about 13,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the emotion I remember the most of the complex emotions that Riley's starting to experience in this movie is ennui. Excuse me. So like just overall boredom and like disdain and just complete dissatisfaction, just anti and unimpressed. I was so over it all the time. All the time. I was even over, I got on my nerves. I was just like, everything is so stupid. It's annoying and I can't deal at all anymore. And it was so funny to see. It was so funny to see Riley specifically. Our, she's always happy and
Mm-hmm.
you know, just like really present. As you can see from the first movie, joy is a primary emotion that she's always feeling, right? So to see her kind of depict that, like overall, like okay, whatever, during certain moments of the movie, I thought was really funny and just reminded me, like, gosh, being 13, being between the ages of 13 and like 16, everything is so confusing. Nothing makes sense. All of your emotions are
Mm-hmm.
like they swing very like pronounced. And as someone who didn't have a lot of like external stressors, I'd say growing up, I think I had a pretty good childhood. I was safe, I was seen, I was in an environment where I had all the things that I needed. No, seriously, because I thought about, like, while I was watching that movie, how much more complex other emotions would be if you were a kid who was essentially like one of the kids in The Shy, right? Like, fear and anxiety and anger are probably going to be way more turned up than like joy or embarrassment, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
depend Riley is a sweet, normal 13-year-old little white girl in San Francisco.
That
You know
she's
what I'm
able to
saying?
be. She does not have
She's
to
able
worry
to be.
about.
She has a privilege of having two parents that care about her deeply. She's the only kid. She, she plays hockey, okay, as her spare time sport,
Very dope.
or her, extracurricular activity. And so I just thought that that was really interesting. How if this story was reframed, how much more difficult it would be
Oh
to
boy.
watch it, right? Because to go through all of that as a teenager is already, growing up is already so hard.
Yeah.
And then you add growing up in an environment where a kid doesn't feel safe.
I mean, you have to grow up really quickly.
It's
I,
jacked up.
I mean, I would say this is gonna maybe sound silly, but it's a combination of two: joy joy and anxiety.
Okay.
For me, there's a little bit of embarrassment in there, only because like,
Well, as a 13-year-old, everything embarrasses you.
yeah, and it,
Everything. The way you walk. They had a scene where like she's trying to figure out how to walk. Like that's how
yeah,
awkward she feels.
yeah. You, I mean, for me, anxiety about like what other kids think, and then like, unfortunately, girls at the time, and I say unfortunately because that whole process for me started earlier than I really wish it should have, for me personally. Wanting to have the attention of girls, I feel like framed a lot of my stuff a little too early, like my personality a little too early. So there's that, but then also like, not to beat a dead horse with this whole like growing up in New York thing, but like it was a little dangerous in New York, and it kind of provided a way uh, to kids having a certain level of freedom when you can take a train and go 20 miles in another direction, and it's an environment that allowed for you to have see a lot more than maybe a kid should see, that at the time. And then the school I was in uh, was was a good school, but it was also a school that had a lot of kids that maybe didn't have all the resources that they needed. And so there's a little bit of bullying going around. There's a little bit of gang stuff going on, and like all that stuff. So there's a little bit of anxiety with that, just trying to fit in, trying to figure out as a boy child, like, is being a kid that fights all the time cool? Is that what I need to do to be cool? Um, do I have to like have girls around to be cool? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of trying to find this whole thing, and it just, I wouldn't say it stressed me out, but it did make me think a lot. And as a kid that was always thinking a lot anyway, it just kind of fed my anxiety. But then there was also joy because my family was dope. Some of my best memories of my life are from that time, being 13 with my cousins, and I had the most family around me ever. Still, like, that was the time where I had the most of my family around me. So going to Queens and going to barbecues, and being with my uncles and my cousins, driving me back and forth to the Bronx and all this other stuff. I've fell in love with dancehall music at the time. Like, it's just a lot with that too.
Right.
So yeah, there's joy and nostalgia. I don't really know if I like the way they did nostalgia, because you could have nostalgia. You could have nostalgia. I had nostalgia when I was 13. Like, as
So
you
what did you have nostalgia of at 13? Your life
elementary
was just
school. The thing is, like, I
really
don't know. I don't know people like at school is a great example because it frames your life very well.
right, exactly.
So as you age,
It's
like,
like folders in your memory. Like
yeah, it's
you
easy to,
associate certain memories with like the grade that you were in.
very simple to do.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
works so good for me.
When did
But
that happen? I was about in third grade, which
there
means I
you
was
go.
8, and that means that I was
There you
here.
go.
And yeah,
And as you shift, because it's in, sometimes it's in years of 4 or 3,
yeah,
depending on if it's like middle school. But in 13 is right before you go to high school at 14. And so when you go to high school, it's easy for you to be nostalgic about middle school. When you're in middle school, it's easy for you to be
okay,
nostalgic about elementary school. When you're
okay,
in high school, it just kind of shifts.
yeah,
And as you age, and you're fortunate to grow up, certain things phase out. You don't remember elementary school. Now you don't remember middle school. Now you are starting to fade away from high school. I had a really good time in high school, so I still have some of that stuff, but I know that there's stuff in high school that I don't remember. In college, we are very much removed from college at this
yeah. We
point.
all yeah.
So there's things that are starting to fade from that phase of our lives. So nostalgia exists
At
all
all phases.
around. You know what I'm
I think
saying?
what was interesting about how they did nostalgia and the depiction of nostalgia, she's literally like she's just like all of the other emotions, but she's just old,
She's
right?
old.
So and she's like knitting, and she has like these gray curls, and she can barely see. And she's like, I
Cute as a button.
remember when. She's just so sweet. She looks like the grandmother. And the truth of the matter is that the older you get, and the more life that you feel like is behind you, the more prominent nostalgia is. But because Riley's 13, they're like, nostalgia, please. Your time is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Please believe we're going to fade into the background, and then all it's going to be is nostalgia, right? And so there's like a mortality with that. So like when they see nostalgia, they're like, no.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I get that too.
They're like, not yet. Like we're not willing to entertain you just yet. Nostalgia. She God willing has a lot of life left
Yeah,
ahead of her,
absolutely.
and she don't needs to be spending a lot of time looking backwards. Right? She has more in her
Mm-hmm.
future than she does in her past. So
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that. I definitely think that they shoot off nostalgia pretty tough a few times, but it was hilarious. The comedic relief that she provided
Mm.
was just so cute and so spot on. And when they decided to do it, was
And
super adorable.
question for you. So
Yeah.
this is Riley's 13.
Yes.
Do they do another movie? And if they do another movie, what phase of her life could it be? Because
I think a natural next phase of her life would be college. I think a I think a severe fast forward. Well, if they were to do an Inside Out 3, will be necessary. You know who has essentially already done this, but outside of the person's mind, is Toy Story, right? So we follow,
it's like, okay,
yeah, we
very good.
follow what's
Andy,
Andy, excuse me. We follow Andy's life through all four of the Toy
I
Stories.
think there's like 5 now, but yeah, you're
Right.
right.
Like and so they have a pretty good blueprint for like certain intervals and like metric studies and of previous. It's a DreamWorks. DreamWorks
Not
is
no
Toy
Toy Story. No,
Story.
no, no. That's Pixar. That's
Pixar.
big Pixar.
Excuse
I think
me.
that's their first movie, if I'm not mistaken.
My bad.
Yeah,
Okay, my fault. Cause
that was back when Pixar and
I
Apple
know I
were
might
like the
get
same.
tomatoes thrown at me for
Yeah.
that, but no, their flagship movie
Mm-hmm.
basically has
Flagship.
already laid the groundwork for how well we, as the children who were like growing up with Andy, respond value wise, like in dollars, to come back. Because when the last Toy Story came out, please believe most of the people who are going to watch that,
Oh, you're talking about Lightyear.
I'm just saying in general. Yet
Oh, okay.
Lightyear is obviously a branch from the Toy Story universe, but most importantly, like, the last Toy Story, I
Yeah.
remember when it came out, and we were like in high school, we were like in our senior year of high school, and we wanted to see it more than, my little brother did, right? Like I'm 9 years older than my brother. People
Yeah.
thought that the demographic for Toy Story after the last one came out, would be kids. No,
Mm-hmm.
these are teenagers and kids that are going to college and are in college that are coming back to see this movie. So they know how important nostalgia is. Like that's
Yeah.
their whole metric. Like I think it's so funny that they were actually shooing nostalgia away, because the whole reason why Pixar, I think, is as successful as it is because they planted those seeds in us early. Like when we were kids, they have been
Man.
pumping us with key memories, okay? Right, which they also talk about in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
like
Core memories.
these core memories. Pixar's all up and through them damn core memories.
Yeah, man.
That's their whole market strategy, is to get us to keep coming back. So I think an Inside Out 3 is inevitable, right? um
Mm-hmm.
Especially because you can just keep eating off of especially with the idea of mental health being at the forefront of all the
There you
conversations.
go. Yeah,
And
yeah,
when
yeah.
I tell you, they obviously hired a like slew of child psychiatrists for these
We
movies,
said that. Yeah,
because
the
the
first one.
way that they so clearly, accurately, and poignantly break down complex emotions, and how your mind works at an early age, and the development of that is so spot on. It's so good,
Yeah.
that I think people, in the exploration of mental health and understanding what these things mean and why we feel the way we feel, to have it given to you in beautiful, bright, colors
Yeah.
and
It's
little
illustrated
animated,
so well.
yeah,
Like, god
little
damn.
animated figures
Yeah.
that give voice to the emotions that you either suppress
Mm-hmm.
or identify with or have fallen out of relationship with, if you will. They kind of show that. Like there was a point in the movie
What was it?
where
The morals? Was it her morals or her core values or
her
something?
belief system,
Belief system. That's what it
like they
was.
literally talk about how all of these memories and all of these points of your life create a network that makes your sense of self.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was really
And
good, man.
you're seeing that, and as you're watching it, you're recollecting for yourself like, oh, is that where that comes from for me? Is that why I see myself as blank? Or when I think of who I am, it if I think back to the earliest time of when I felt that emotion, it was at this moment. Like allowing you to go through, to have permission to do a deep dive and inventory of your own actual emotions was like really, really dope. I think that's what
Mm-hmm.
Pixar does, and that's what Inside Out as a like movie, like franchise, I guess, if you
Yeah,
will,
at this point.
like really, really is successful at. And child, if you guys didn't know already, we obviously love the
It
movie.
was great.
Okay,
It's
it was
fantastic.
fantastic, absolutely incredible. 10 out of 10. Go see it if you haven't. All right, you got one's gotta go.
One's gotta go. So one's gotta go. Yeah. Hope we didn't do this already. But
Okay.
if we did, it's fine. Billie Jean,
Okay.
Thriller,
Jesus.
Man in the Mirror, Rock with You.
One of these has to go.
One of these have to go. And I think because it's Michael, I'm gonna try to get my spirits up a little bit.
Okay.
I ain't gonna disrespect Michael like this. So I'm gonna say it one more time.
Please do. Please do. Please do.
One
Please
more
do.
time. Billie Jean,
Yes.
Thriller,
Yes.
the song, not the album.
Yes.
Man in the Mirror,
Okay.
and Rock with You.
I
This is
I
this is
think I'm
stupid.
I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna say Rock with You. I think I'm gonna say Rock with You. I'm and mind you, I love all of these songs. Okay.
Understatement.
I will walk through why that one has to be the one to go of the three. Obviously, Thriller is cemented, right? It is
Yeah, that can't go
still to
nowhere.
this day the greatest selling album of all time, I think.
Yes,
Right.
over 100 million
So
sold,
argue with the numbers. Don't argue with me. You know what
and
I'm
that's what they
saying?
can count. They can't even quantify the rest
Period.
of it. But yeah,
So Thriller is goated. That's staying up there.
but we are talking about the song
I
Thriller.
understand. I know. I know.
That
Where
also
the whole
is one of the
attachment
greatest.
that I said what I said.
Yeah,
What is it? Billie Jean.
Billie Jean. Yeah,
Billie Jean is basically like it's the breakout song for him.
Change
right?
music.
When you saw him, when you heard that dunt, 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 everybody knows within the first second of that song what it is.
Yep.
Period. When you see in your mind those light up tiles, okay? It also was like one of the first music videos that like ever like charted or like kind of broke, viewership.
Yeah, yeah. I
It
mean,
was
he
like
did
it was
it
a
on
big
the.
thing on MTV, like
was,
even getting it depicted on or getting it.
1984. I had to double check because I was gonna say
Yeah.
83. 1984. He performed Billie Jean. I don't know if it was for the first time. I think
Yes, it was
it
for
was
the first time, and it was
Yes.
the song that debuted the moonwalk. So that's not going anywhere. So really, it's a toss up between Man in the Mirror, okay,
Okay.
and what was the one that I eliminated? I'm sorry.
The
Rock with You. Rock with
Rock
You.
with You.
I wanna rock with you. So yes, Man in the Mirror is not personally one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. Like
That also had a moment at the Grammys too. But yeah.
facts. I would listen to Rock with You before I listen to Man in the Mirror. However, I will not let my bias undermine the impact that I know Man in the Mirror has for most people. Like when they hear that song, people still cry. You understand what I'm saying? Like the emotions that that song evokes is to me more powerful than Rock With You. Rock With You was a good like boogie song. You know what I'm saying? Wanna rock with you all night.
You can
It's
still play that today and it go up in like
dance you
any party.
in today. Like it's just it's a feel good song. It's like a summertime vibe. You feel it, you know it, you love it. You can slide it in, like you said, into basically any playlist
Yes.
and any transition. It's been sampled a trillion times and it's really, really important. But I know that when people when people start singing Man in the Mirror, their eyes close. You know you love a song when you start singing it with your eyes closed.
Because
You know what I'm
Michael sang it with
saying?
his eyes closed.
And so that's, final answer is going to be Rock With You
Oh,
is the one
to
that
go
has
away?
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. This is not as hard for me because I agree with you. It
Yeah.
has to be "Rock with You" because "Rock with You" is a happy song. But "Man in the Mirror" represented a song that we still the message of it
Yeah.
is still needed today,
Oh, 100%.
and
I don't think there's ever be a time where it's not needed.
unfortunately,
Facts.
unfortunately, and then I. Do we have to talk about all the different iconic? I mean, Thriller again. Everyone knows that Thriller video.
Yeah.
It's
Next.
the video. Next,
Next.
next, right? Scared the shit out of me too, by the way, because I watched it too damn much.
Facts.
But
Facts.
changed music. Billie Jean changed music, um, uh, and then Man in the Mirror, 1988 performance at the Grammys. Huge moment because Michael performed that song and with a choir, and it was extremely emotional
Yeah.
for everyone, including Michael, because he the spins that he does, and he landed on his knees, and then people were wondering, they had to one of the choir members had to, I don't remember, I think there was I don't remember the name, but he had to walk over to Michael, you good? And he was like, no, he's fine, and he kept singing. It was very emotional.
Yeah.
It's an emotional song. So yeah, as much as I would love to dance, and I think "Rock with You," if I'm not mistaken, Michael had the fro and he would
Oh,
dancing
yeah.
in the
It was
video. It was
basically just
cool. It was
him in
cool.
front of a green screen,
It's
just like kind of
fantastic.
diddy bopping,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
fantastic. I think that was off the Off the Wall
Yes.
album. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. That's not actually as hard as I thought it would be,
Yeah.
but
Once you
it's
walk
Michael
it through, it's just
Jackson.
like, if
Yeah.
one's
So
gotta go, we'd have to go with that. Okay, so we can quickly do a remember when.
yeah, we'll close out with
You
remember
want to
when.
close out with remember when? Okay, say less. All right. So remember when, and this is kind of like off of the back of Inside Out, but it just made me think remember you remember not having anything to do?
Yes.
What was the age where you felt as though you had the most free time in your life? Like you had no obligations. There was no, once you got done with whatever it is that you were doing,
Are
you
we just
didn't.
talking about general boredom or just not having anything to do?
It could be boredom or it could just be free time, just stuff that you were no one was thinking about you and you weren't thinking about anybody else
Oh
but
my
what you
God.
were doing in that moment.
So there's a few ages that this happened. In my kid ages and in my adolescence. I'll start with below 10. So between maybe 7 and 10, once again, getting dropped off in Queens.
Yeah.
Okay. I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of people in the house. But every so often, there was no one in the house. Or it was just me and one other person in the house, or two people in the house. And man, was it boring. Oh my God, there's not enough cartoons in the world.
Oh,
There
Jesus
is no, and
Christ.
I don't think boredom is a hit. Boredom hits such a different way when you're 8.
And you
Like it
have
is,
nowhere to
you have nowhere
go.
to go.
And
I
we
am
did
not
not have
at,
a cell phone. There
there's,
was no social media to scroll on endlessly.
but
There
also
were no
I'm not
phone
home. If I
games.
was home, I could go outside with my friends. I'm
Oh
not home.
my
I'm in Queens.
God.
Don't no kids live on this block. I don't have game, and if I did have a game, I had maybe one or two games. My mom ain't buying me a bunch of
Jesus
games, so
Christ.
I just had to sit there and watch TV. But there's only so much TV back then. There's 32 channels. We had Cablevision. There's only so much Pokemon that you can watch, and then
And
Pokemon
it's
goes
gonna go
off.
off. It's
Oh my
gonna go
God!
off.
And it's, I
Then you're
mean,
left with Days of Our Lives.
yeah, okay. Here's another one. Um,
And the
just
price is
being
right.
just having nothing to do, being in the a hair salon with my mom or my aunt or something like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
There's nothing to do, and
You
they're getting braids. So you know what that means?
you there
They're
for
in there
six
for
hours.
16 hours.
Not 16.
16 hours. They're
No.
in there. They're in there from the morning time, from
Morning,
9
from
o'clock in the
morning
morning
till
to
night.
like 5.
Father
Oh
God.
God, it's too
Just
much.
talking about nothing that concerns you.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I could think of a couple times in high school I was bored too, but I'll just leave y'all with those.
Lord Jesus is a fire. Yeah, so you just unlocked a couple of memories for me because I wasn't going to talk about
This is why nostalgia is
it
incredible.
is incredible. Look, to your point, there were summers where I would spend
Oh,
my
here we go.
siblings would spend with our
Your
grandmother.
grandma.
I have two
Florida or New York?
grandmothers. Florida,
Okay.
New York was at least a little bit better because we had
Cousins.
younger cousins there with us that we were going to see and spend time with, and that's basically how we avoided our oppressive and mind numbing boredom. Okay. We had to make up games. This is back in the day where you had to make up games.
Whew.
All right, y'all. There wasn't nothing to do. But when we would visit my grandmother in Florida, she lived in basically in a neighborhood with exclusively only old people, right?
Oof.
There were no other kids in that neighborhood. Okay. She had TV, but she had the most basic cable
It's
package.
like 10 channels.
Okay. there is the like
Four news channels.
4 news channels, like gospel television, basically,
Oof.
like the preaching channel, the buying things channel.
Oh God, the JVC where they're talking about
Yes.
jewelry and clothes and stuff.
If I could have snapped my neck,
Shipping and handling,
if I could have
S&H.
just broke my own neck, I would have.
It costs
And
$20
then
and
there
$20
was
shipping.
Nickelodeon. Like she had the
Okay.
package specifically where we could only watch Nickelodeon. We didn't have Cartoon Network as well. Or Disney. So we only had like, that's back in the day when cable, you could pick and choose like the number of channels that you wanted. So if you didn't want to pay for the package where you had 673 channels, because there's no way in hell you're ever going to watch 673 channels, you
Yeah.
had the basic package, which allowed you to have like 30, right?
Yeah.
So that's the one that my grandmother had. And mind you, she was spoiling us because she only got that package because we were coming down, right?
Oof.
Otherwise, she literally would have just had one channel, which is like basically the Christian network, and the news, which is free.
Goodness.
And so it was the boredom. I don't even
It's
think
insane.
bored is a strong enough word. It was purgatory.
It's insane, yo.
It's like I was waiting to die. So that was mind numbing. But also in college, we had like during like basically summer school, right, where
Oh.
we only had like one class, and then when you were one or two classes,
We were overachievers, so we had
yeah.
like 3 classes.
No, I think at most when I took summer courses, I only had 2 classes, and I only took them so that I would have less electives per semester for the next year.
Yeah.
So, because I was never one of I
was
liked
right there
only
with
having
you.
4 classes a semester. I didn't like, anytime I had to do like 5, I never did 6
And we also worked.
credit hours. Yeah. So if I
Resident
could,
assistant.
right. So if I could, take a course or two of like an easy elective, like biology or physics or something like that during the summer, okay, cool. I'll do that. The campus is less busy and I have more free time. I could do what I want. I don't have to go back home where like my mom and dad is probably going to make me do chores or something, like, so I could just stay in my own space. That's probably when I had like the most free time, and there was actually like enough like infrastructure around like my social life that I could actually do things if I wanted, or not do shit if I wanted. If I wanted to stay in my room and watch TV all day, I could.
Ah, man.
Like,
What a time.
if I wanted to just walk around campus or like go to my friend's apartment just to hang out and watch music videos for hours, I could. If I wanted to have a movie night, I could. Like, if I
Big
just
2K over here, man.
yeah, that's all you
Shout out
did.
to
But
my
I
homies.
just remember those periods of time where it was just so dope. Like we had no responsibilities. We didn't have to worry about paying bills or getting it. All I had to do was take these two classes.
You just had to pass these classes.
I just had to pass these classes, and so it was like literally one class for like, if most days I would have like the two classes like every other day or something like that. So there were entire like 24-hour periods where I didn't have a
Yeah.
class, right? Because it was only on Tuesdays and Thursdays or something
Yeah.
like that. And so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then all of the weekend, nothing to do. So I can, work a little part-time job, have a little coin in my pocket, nothing crazy because I'm still on the meal plan. So because we're still RAs, all we have to
Yeah.
do is like walk the hall and do like
Yeah, just
daily
patrol or
patrols
whatever
or
like that.
whatever. It was just so dope, just like having all of that time to ourselves and really like having
In a bubble too.
in a bubble
Yeah.
and really having like not a ton of responsibilities. Like
Yeah.
it was, I would,
Last one
I'd trade that. I'd go back for us.
last one I'll say is high school.
Excuse me.
Christmas break
Damn.
sometimes could be a bit boring because that's when it was like, I could play Call of Duty all day and it was great. But after 3 days in a row, you're like, kind of want something else to do.
Yeah, yeah, because those vacations, gosh, being on the opposite side of that perspective now is so crazy
I
because,
know.
you
I feel ashamed to take
when
advantage
your
of that.
kids are on any type of Christmas break or anything like that, you remember that like, oh yeah, I still have to go to work. Like I can't stay in with them and chill.
Hell no.
Like I got to take my ass into work. Like we don't have no Christmas break. We have PTO, which has to be
Yeah.
scheduled and decided upon and planned for.
Yeah. I mean,
There's
people
just
at
no
my job,
periods
they
of
have to
times where
take.
you're just like, hey, we're not working for this month.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it was a phrase that they used at my job. It was like, what are you doing for, vacation or whatever? He's like, well, the kids are out of school. So if the kids want to do something, then we
Then
have
we're
to do
doing
something.
it
But if they don't want to do anything, then we're not going to do anything. So it's all dictated by the
on your
kids, which is
kids.
so fortunate because that is not how it worked in my house. If they wanted to do something, I'm
Facts.
doing it, not if
Right.
I want to do
If my
something.
parents wanted to go on vacation or if they wanted to get rid of us so that they could go on vacation,
Yeah.
guess what? A grandparent, here you go. Here's 3 kids for 2.5 months.
Did they ever split y'all up?
No, my parents never split us up.
Interesting.
I never was spending time with like one aunt or uncle or grandparent while my other 2 siblings were with someone else. That never happened.
Yeah, man. We got sent to that good old Queen summer camp.
Yeah.
But
Queen Summer Camp is wild.
it's true, man.
Jesus Christ. Listen, if y'all are still with us, praise God.
Did we
You
do
know
it?
what I'm saying?
Think we did.
Because I think we did it. I think
man.
we gonna cut it there. All right. Listen, we appreciate y'all so much. Hi, Rulo. Thank you for making a little guest appearance, okay? No matter where you go after this, just make sure you go with God.
Go with God, please.
It's the one thing for certain podcasts, baby. Bye.
Peace.